Fox 2 Sportsworks starts now.
Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to The Works. Coming up tonight, everything you need to get up to date in the world of sports. Boys are here.
Hey.
In the house. John Niyo in the house. How you guys doing?
Everything's good. How about you there, Dapper?
Good. You ready for some football?
Oh, my God.
We're there. We're there.
They
We're
played
past there.
They played
Armageddon.
some stupid Game 0 yesterday.
We have real games coming up. We'll be talking about both for the Lions as they work at cutting down their roster before Tuesday's deadline. We're now 2 weeks away from their opener in Green Bay, heading into our first full week of college football. We'll talk about all that, Michigan and Michigan State included. But we're going to start with the Tigers. Chance to close out a sweep of the Royals today. To Comerica Park we go. Wild game. Pick it up scoreless in the second. Not after this. Riley Green launching one deep to right center and gone. Solo blast. 31st of the year. 1-0 Detroit. Jack Flaherty cruised through the first 2 innings, but got lit up in the third. 1-1. Bobby Witt Jr. got one pass short. Mike Yastrzemski to the plate. Royals in front 2-1 later in the inning. Vinny Pasquantino adds a couple more with this big blast to right center. 4-1 KC after that. They scored 6 times on 7 straight 2-out hits to take a 6-1 lead, but Detroit came back. Jahmai Jones with the bases loaded. Lines one to deep center. That would clear those bases. Zach McKinstry, the last to score, in ahead of the throw. Cut the deficit to 6-4. Then in the fifth, they would do more damage. It was 6-5 when Dylan Dingler ripped a double to left center. It gets into the gap. Riley Green scored, and it was a tie game at 6. McKinstry, the next batter, gets a break. This soft liner goes over Michael Garcia there. That allowed Dingler to score. Tigers back in front 7-6. But again, the Royals had an answer in the next inning. 2 on Kyle Isbell. A hole in the left side gets both runs in. Royals regain the lead at 8-7. They tacked on a couple more. Held off the Tigers to take the final game of the series 10-8. A.J. Hinch discussing what went wrong for Flaherty in that third inning.
What looked like a simple single on a 1-0 pitch just turned into like hit after hit after hit, which some of it's execution. I think there were a couple 2-strike hits in there. I think there was the hanging breaking ball. It was like an inning that wouldn't end. And a lot of that times that comes with execution or, sequencing or just a good job by their guys. I mean, they pieced hits together, hard hit balls that turned into hits and damage. And it was relentless. And so at that point of the game, I was glad that he settled back down, and then our guys obviously fought back and made a game of it. But that was a rough inning.
All right, guys, we will certainly talk a little bit about this. Official introductions. That's Wojo, that's John Niyo, both from the Detroit News. Woj from 97 won the ticket. A terrific week for the Tigers.
Of course.
Winning 5 out of 6 games. And then in this one, look, they win another series. Even if they don't get the sweep, they've now won 5 straight series. And we found out this year, if you keep doing that, it adds up really well.
Oh, yeah, all of a sudden you have an 11.5 game lead.
It's a good thing.
But you know what's interesting? Even though they lost today 10-8, you still saw all the elements that makes them special. Like Flaherty was roughed up crazily, but they didn't want to use the bullpen that early. The bullpen was a little taxed, so he left Flaherty out there. He finally got through, and he was in position to get the win because they came back from a 6-1 deficit. 6-1 deficit is nothing for the Tigers, and then the bullpen did give it up a little bit. But that does not smudge their homestand at all. Back to, 23 games
Yeah,
over 500.
we sat here the night that they were 5.5 up. And
Yeah.
Fretting. Was he fretting?
Oh, yeah.
He was fretting. I bet he was.
We did this. Here come the Guardians. Here come the Guardians.
It wasn't quite panic and Tiger time. It was just panic and Tiger time.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, no, I mean, look, they are, to your point, they are kind of doing some of those things we saw them do down the stretch last year. Jahmai Jones with the home run. Those kind of things, everybody on the roster contributing to wins or comeback almost wins in today's case. But, yeah, the thing that I think fans start to freak out about is when they see Flaherty's inning there where it implodes and you're like, okay, this is the guy we're counting on for game 2 or game 3 in the playoffs. The good news, I think, is he doesn't do this against good teams.
Well,
he saves these weird outings for against non-playoff teams.
What I was going to ask you,
great.
because you said this gave us all the elements that make the Tigers special. Did it also include the element that gives us a little concern? Because if you gave A.J. Hinch truth serum and asked him right now, who's your starter in Game 2 of a playoff series, what do you think he'd say?
No, I don't know what he would say.
Charlie Morton?
Charlie Morton has pitched in World Series.
He trusts him.
So, for sure, and you're right, the Flaherty thing.
World Series.
Yeah, whatever. The Flaherty thing is so up and down. But, you know, you cannot have a perfect roster and a perfect lineup. Right. And I think he will take the other elements that they have. I do think it's going to end up being Casey Mize.
That would make
Certainly,
sense.
Number two starter,
That would make the most sense. And actually,
because you do need a strong number two starter, because Tarek Skubal will face the other team's ace.
He will.
It's going to be a heck of a game in game one, regardless.
True,
of
you also have so many bullpen pieces, too, that it doesn't necessarily matter who starts game two
Embrace
or game
the
three.
chaos.
That's right.
Hello.
You love the chaos.
I
don't
do
you?
enjoy the chaos.
Speaking of chaos, isn't it? We're lucky to have him here with us today.
We are.
Yeah.
I wish there was video we could
I
drop in
know.
over this of the foul ball.
No, Brad Galley got a picture of it. And no. I'm lucky to be alive. I'll just be honest with you. And you know what? I would have
Foul ball into the press box, whizzes past his head, hits the wall behind him, comes forward, hits the Coke, which
Pepsi
was full, obviously, sorry.
Yeah.
And rolls over
Wojo's
into his
computer.
laptop.
Yeah, no, seriously, and I believe it was Bobby Witt Jr., and I could feel the whiz of it. and okay, I didn't get hurt, so
Of course,
that's
it
fine.
had to be one of the best players in the league.
Of course,
right.
but the Pepsi, like my computers don't like cold water or
Apparently
cold
not.
Pepsi on them.
Yeah.
So I'm drying it out, and I don't know if it's dead. Got it open a little bit. I'm very, very scared. I have so many great words in there that I need to get out of there.
Yeah.
What I do to cover the Tigers.
Yeah.
Hello.
Put your life on the line, day in and day out.
Thank you for your service, Woj.
Yeah.
We do appreciate you. Being in the line of a foul ball. Here's a hint. Watch the game.
Yeah.
I was
with his
having
little
a
headphones on.
and they yelled
And
Wojo, and
he
I'm
didn't
like,
hear a word of it.
I have my headphones
Yeah,
in.
Wojo's watching Mad Men season 4. All right, let's get to the Lions. Busy time at the Meyer Performance Center. Dan Campbell, Brad Holmes, the rest of their staff's grinding through roster cuts. Training camp preseason now behind them, with the games that count now within sight. Hammer has more.
With the regular season opener just 2 weeks away, it's all about what comes next for the Detroit Lions. And while some tough choices lie ahead between now and Tuesday's cut-down deadline, there are several players who have made the decisions a little bit easier with their performance throughout camp. I know you don't take anything for granted that you've made this team, but there's a lot of people saying you potentially could be wide receiver number 3 on the depth chart. Just from here, where do you go mentally? Tell me what the next few days will be like for you.
It's nice to kind of wrap up camp a little bit. I wouldn't say take a break, but, kind of get out of that camp mode. In terms of being, where we're stacking up in terms of the receiver room, I don't think we need to put a number on anyone.
We're very pleased with where he's at after 6 weeks of camp, because that's really what it's been. We just finished 6 weeks. So I would say if you took most receivers, he'd be in the upper echelon of those as far as development. It's pretty good, because it's not easy to develop as a receiver in this league and be ready to go. And I think there's a place for him to help us early in this season.
And this isn't just about the 53-man roster. Holmes has said time and again that they're looking for the most talented 69 players, including 16 on the practice squad, to round out their team. At Ford Field, Jennifer Hammond, Fox 2 Sports.
All right, Hammer, thanks. Look, the cuts will reveal themselves soon enough. I think one of the things that becomes interesting at this time of year is, will the 53-man roster that they end up with on Tuesday include somebody that's not here right now by Wednesday or Thursday? Because they're certainly looking around the league to see if there's anybody else out there that can help.
And I do think they will find help elsewhere. And I think they don't have that much that they need to lop off that they're going to feel really bad about lopping off. I don't think. Campbell said after the game, what do you like about your rise? He goes, what's there not to like?
It's stacked.
Yes, it's stacked. So I don't think they're going to have that many tough cuts to make.
I think the question, and sometimes the questions we have are not questions that they share,
right.
are the offensive line on the interior. And maybe if there was somebody out there that made you feel a little bit better experience-wise, you might look for that.
Yeah.
And then I think it's on that defensive line. And again, I don't think Brad Holmes necessarily agrees, but opposite Aiden Hutchinson and on let's just say third down,
Yeah.
Who are the guys there that are going to scare a quarterback outside of Aiden? Can it be Davenport? Can it be Al-Quadin Muhammad? Can it be Reeder?
Right.
Who's it going to be?
And it doesn't just have to be the starting defensive end
Sure.
either. It can be that third guy who's just a situational
Right.
pass rusher, which would be Zadarius Smith if he comes back from the Caribbean or wherever he's been spending while these guys have been in camp. But yeah, I think to me that's the position where if you're talking about somebody from not on the roster being on the roster in week 1, it would be that position, just that depth pass rush, edge rusher guy.
Yeah, and it's amazing when Campbell was saying that to, and I love that Campbell doesn't do fake woe is us stuff at all. Right. You know, what's not to like? And I really do think he thought they had a great camp, or they feel really good coming out of it, which means, let's say it what it is and knock on whatever, no really horrible injuries at all, which is huge for them, obviously.
Yeah, doesn't help that coming in that they lost Levi, and it doesn't help that now all of a sudden Pascal's going to be out longer.
I know, but since camp started.
No, I'm with you. But I think this is where that comes from as well. He's looking at things in particular in these joint practices that we don't necessarily see. And that's where he's looking at his number ones. What's happening on the interior of that line? What are they getting out of that defense? I think they believe this defense can be really, really good. That back seven is really strong.
And we all forget how good they were to start last year.
And you have one of the best players in the league in your front four.
We all forget how good they were to start last year, the first month of last season. And yes, that secondary is, to me, watching it for the last 3-4 weeks in camp, especially in those joint practices, as you mentioned, that secondary is as good as it's been here in a long time, I think. I mean, I don't know that they've had
We were trying to figure it out.
I don't know. When was the last time they had 2 corners better than this pair of corners? And it's
2 great safeties.
And 2 really good. I mean, Kirby Joseph just hops back on the practice field and immediately picks off a pass against Houston and drills the other day. Yeah, so I do think that's where that confidence comes from. Is that defense, I think, is going to be really good.
And I think they're taking to what Kelvin Shepard is bringing, a little bit more creative aggressiveness. I don't know if you'd call it freelancing aggressiveness.
Well, I think when you've got a back end like that, it helps to be able to do that.
Absolutely. And DJ Reed is a veteran for Terry and Arnold, who really could bust out pretty big in his second year.
Does it feel like around the country people are doubting this team more than seems necessary or more than seems rational at this point?
I don't even know if it's just around the country, too. I mean, I think it's a whole woe is us thing going on in Detroit, too. Like, oh, they can't win 15 well, of course they're not going to go 15
They're not going to win 15.
Right.
But they look at the schedule, oh, no, they're playing all the best teams. Well, you're one of the best teams, so yeah. But, no, I do think, and again, it goes back to, you watch them against Miami in those joint, it wasn't even a contest.
Right.
And then you remember, they have all pros kind of littering this roster, guys who make plays, guys at the top of their position group all over this roster. If you go position by position, you've got an elite guy at most of your positions. So that's the difference between this team and most teams in the league.
And as a perpetrator of dumb debates, hello, and it started nationally when somebody wrote like the Lions are going to be one of the big Greek teams regressing this year. Well, 15-2, they absolutely are regressing.
Define regressing. Is regressing missing the playoffs, or is it going from 15 to 11 wins?
Yeah,
which still may win the NFC North.
I don't even think 11 wins would be that much of a regression at all, because the schedule is so much tougher, and it's just stuff to talk about because we still have 2 weeks before they're playing.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I mean, it's certainly going to be interesting, and I think, look, the thing that I think also gets people's attention, and rightfully so, is this division is really intriguing. Green Bay's a really good team. Minnesota, while they have a quarterback who's never thrown a pass yet, is a pretty good team. And Chicago,
I'm kind of with him.
I'm
not so convinced that the NFC North is going to be this
3 playoff teams.
I know, but
you watch the Bears and Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson forcing his starters to play till halftime the other day. The Vikings, we're worried about backup quarterback here. The Vikings are signing Carson Wentz off the street.
We're going to find out a lot in the first 2 weeks. At Green Bay. Against Chicago.
Yep.
So we will see. All right, hang in there, guys. Going to come right back. Talk some college football on the other side. Stick with us. This edition of The Works rolling on.
5, 3, 2, here we go.
All right, boys, let's talk some college football. Big Ten, first of all, start here. Penn State, Ohio State, Oregon, all ranked in the top 10. We buying that? Anybody not belong there? Anybody that isn't named that should be there?
Oh, no, I buy that. I think the Big Ten is very top-heavy this year.
Penn State?
Well, I don't buy James. They can win the Big Ten. They can't win the national title because James Franklin is their head coach. And I don't even know if I believe in the quarterback that's been there forever, Drew Aller. But yeah, the Big Ten is top-heavy, and it's the same with the SEC. But that next group, too, could be very dangerous. Your Michigans and Illinois and even Indiana might come around for second helpings.
Nebraska, I would throw Nebraska.
Nebraska, yeah, it's gonna be fun. And I'm not sure the champion will come from those top 3 or 4. Because, like
Big
I said,
Ten champion.
Right. Oh, the national
Could
champion.
be one of those teams that comes from off the pace that you just named.
Yeah,
They
could be.
do it.
Just like Indiana last year with the schedule that was, they didn't play anybody or whatever. Yeah, I think it's absolutely possible. National champion, this is, and part of this is the playoff, and some of it's the portal. It's wide open. Who's, the first AP poll had, 6 different teams getting first place?
Well,
votes,
and
so.
you look down like the top 10, I believe only 1 or 2 or maybe 3 teams have a returning quarterback.
Exactly.
Which means Clemson is certainly going to be up there, and that's one of the things that Michigan State is hanging their hat on as well, is Aiden Childs coming back. Well, Michigan, they have somebody else. They brought in somebody to play quarterback for him.
Yeah.
Freshman guy.
They just signed a guy. So let's go one by one with them. Michigan State, year 2 under Jonathan Smith. And year 2, it should be mentioned for Aiden Childs, who also has some experience at Oregon State on his resume. What does success look like for the Spartans?
A bowl game. I would say 7 wins, but also
They need a bowl game,
but
yes.
They do need a signature win, too, somewhere along the way, whether it's Michigan or, at home or Penn State or somebody like that. Something to sort of give everybody. Because 7 wins, yes, I think people view that as progress, but you got to get people excited, too. And I think it's going to take that.
Yeah, and I think they plugged some of the holes. They think their offensive line will be better. They're still looking for a pass rush, but they think their defense will be better. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. We'll see how good Aiden Childs is. He's definitely got an upside. But their receiver room with Nick Marsh and the transfers they brought
Amari
in,
Kelly.
yeah, that can be a great mistakery. Like teams can rise up in college football with great receivers because you're going up against.
We've seen Michigan State do that.
They've
been there,
very famous for doing that.
For sure.
Yeah, and Childs certainly,
I think he's really an interesting guy in this whole landscape of college football because all the talent's there. It's eliminating the mistakes that seemed to hurt him whenever he turned around last year.
And I think that's
experience does that.
And I think Michigan fans are going to get a taste of that this year, probably.
Yes, they are.
We'll get to that in a minute, but yeah, I think that's just part of the job description of a freshman quarterback is to throw the ball away or to turn the ball over.
Well, are they going to see that, or as Bryce Underwood said on the Big Ten Network special? They ain't never seen a freshman like me before.
Well,
okay?
and
maybe that's true. But
maybe it is, but I want to go to John's point and say this: the college football can be really rough on freshman quarterbacks. They're going to see things they've never seen before. Look, Bryce Underwood obviously comes in with massive buildup, and certainly it's going to be one of the most watched things in college football to see how he plays for Michigan. But I do think it's fair to say, you know what? It bears watching because it is a tough jump from high school to college football, in particular at the level that Michigan's at, where you're attempting to win big games.
And from what we hear, he's mature beyond his means. He just turned 18 years old, which certainly is helpful. But freshman quarterback, I think when Trevor Lawrence came in and was undefeated his first year at Clemson, and nobody really has come anywhere close to having a freshman quarterback year like that. And Michigan does have some question marks on the offensive line, too. So I would be careful. Bryce Underwood can say whatever he wants. I'm not telling him to tone it down, but
I don't think he would listen to you anyway.
Yeah, I don't think he would.
Week 2 against Oklahoma would be interesting.
Yeah.
I do think they're going to have a better plan as an offense going into this season than they did last year.
You mean a plan?
That goes with that. Well, actually, last year I think they had a plan and it just didn't fit when the quarterback didn't work.
Yeah.
I do think that's going to make a big difference. They're going to have a professional play caller there as an offensive coordinator.
And 2 really good running backs, I think, in Jordan Marshall and Justin
And
Maine.
a defense that should keep them in games.
A defense that should be actually maybe really good. One of the best in the Big Ten.
No, really. Like the Big Ten Network show was like lauding them for like one of the best in the country. And maybe they will. I mean, they've shown it before. They got Wink,
Yeah.
Wink Martindale.
Dude, love that. All right, good luck with your computer, buddy.
Oh,
yeah,
it's
we're all rooting for you.
I have it upside down.
We're all rooting for you. All right, check out Woj if he can find something to write on in the Detroit News. John will be there either way. We'll take a break, come right back. Rest of the day in sports, including Live over at the Cardinal.